In America, when properties are foreclosed, sometimes there's a remaining amount entitled to the previous owner. I've been helping individuals since 2018 claim what's known as surplus funds after a foreclosure. See, in the event of somebody not paying their taxes or not paying their mortgage, that property is going to be foreclosed. And at the auction, there's going to be investors looking to purchase this property at a discount. Even at a discounted rate, these properties are bidded up to a certain amount, and if that amount is more than what they actually owed on their taxes or owed on their mortgage, there's going to be a refund entitled to the previous owner. And I've been assisting individuals and teaching individuals how to actually make profit in this realm. Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to my page, Money Making Juggernaut. I'm your host, Eric Richardson, the #1 educator in the asset recovery business. Today, I'm gonna break down how you can actually get started in the surplus funds industry. Now, this industry is very unique, all right, because typically in real estate, you have to have capital so that you can purchase a property, put money down, or maybe you would like to fix and flip or put a property on Airbnb. That typically requires some sort of capital, and also you do have high competition. If you're looking to wholesale, you know that's saturated. Maybe you guys might be interested in other realms of real estate, but you haven't heard of surplus funds. This industry involves simply locating properties that sell for a higher amount, locating the previous owner, and reunite them with the funds that they're legally entitled to. A lot of individuals do not know about this business, and it could potentially be a blue ocean that could change your life. So let's go ahead and start with the basics. First, we need to understand what this business entails. Like I mentioned previously, if somebody does not pay their taxes or they do not pay their mortgage, guess what? Either the bank or the county, they're gonna need that property, okay? So they're gonna use that property and they're gonna hold it at the auction so that they can get what they're actually entitled to. At this auction, investors are bidding on the property. Let's say, for example, somebody owes $10,000 in taxes, and at the auction, somebody bids it up all the way to $80,000. That is going to give us a $70,000 surplus. Or let's say, for example, somebody owes $250,000 on their mortgage. Well, if investors at the auction are gonna bid that up, and if the property sells for more than $250,000, let's say for example it sells for $350,000, that $100,000 difference is legally entitled to the previous owner. So that's how the surplus funds are generated. Now you might ask, well, why don't they know about this? Well, the county and the trustee handling the foreclosure, they do actually attempt to inform the previous owner, but their method is not very good. They typically send a letter to the foreclosed property, and in most cases, people vacate the property and they're not going to receive that mail. So that's where you step in. You identify who's entitled and you perform what's called skip tracing. You figure out their mailing address, their phone number, social media, email, relatives. You contact them, inform them about these funds, and then you can go ahead and assist them. Now you might ask, well, how can we assist them? It's very simple, guys. There's some states where we can help them out all by ourselves. They'll have a claim form, they'll give you claim instructions, you'll identify that, figure out how you can actually help them. You get this person under agreement, you see what's required for a successful claim, and you simply do it. Typically, it entails a one-page document. I'm serious, guys, a one-page document that breaks down the property foreclosure, breaks down the assessor's number, book and page of the deed, who the owner is, that they're making their claim, and then the document needs to be notarized. We're gonna attach proof of identification, deed documents, and some other documents that I can mention in the course. But this is a very standard process. We also might have scenarios in which the previous owner is deceased and we'll have to help family members. In those cases, we'll typically use an attorney. An attorney can help us on a contingency basis and you can get that file. So if we know that we just have to find the previous owners and we just have to read instructions and file a claim, all we have to do now is take action. And in surplus funds, there's many intricacies involved in this business. But if you can break things down to a simple fundamental system, you can apply that in many states. Because different counties, different states, they're going to have their own protocols. Some states are judicial, some states are non-judicial. Some foreclosures are held by the county, some are held by the trustee. Some scenarios we can do our due diligence online, and in some scenarios we have to actually attend in person. So with that that being said, let's go ahead and break down what the fundamentals are and how you can actually apply this across the entire nation. First is going to be lead identification. If a property sells for a higher amount to a third-party bidder, that is going to give us a true lead. But there's some nuances to this. In some scenarios, the auction is going to start at the amount owed, and we can easily calculate the surplus because we could say, hey, this property sold for more than what the opening bid was. But in other scenarios, the opening bid may not necessarily be the amount that was owed. So in that case, you would have to do your research, identify the debt, any additional liens, and then you can know, okay, well, this is what the auction started at, but this is the exact debt that is owed. Property sold for a higher amount. Now I have a valid lead. It really comes down to identifying properties that sell for a higher amount. Next, we have confirm who the claimant is. You want to make sure that you have the owner prior to the sale. You don't want to have the new owner after the property was already foreclosed. After you do that, you're going to perform what's called due diligence. You're going to check to see if there's any additional debt and liens. Sometimes individuals have second mortgages, home equity line of credits, HUD loans, and we have to be aware of that because those could be additional creditors that can come in to swoop up the surplus. The same thing with lien holders. In order for us to do that, it's very simple. We can go to the county recorder site, or we can use third-party websites like Property Radar or even Excess Elite. After we have identified a surplus, we know who the claimant is, and we've checked the due diligence to see if there's any additional debt or liens, it's time to market. Marketing is very simple, guys. We can pick up that phone and call. We can use the CRM to text. We can email clients. We can send mailers. We can attend in person and door knock. We can contact relatives. We can even contact them on social media. You have to simply pick a method of market and then go ahead and attack. After you do that, now it comes down to properly communicating with a client so that they believe this is legitimate. Now, what I recommend is be as transparent as possible. Get their email address and then send them proof. Show them the sales results, or maybe you might find an excess funds list, or maybe you even have a document stating that there are surplus funds available. You're gonna go ahead and send the state statute, your company website. They're gonna check you out, see you're legitimate. Then it comes down to preparing the paperwork. We're gonna pop things off with an agreement form. After we have that, guys, we're gonna schedule a notary and get the remaining documents, file a claim, and then it comes down to actually getting paid. Payouts typically take 30 to 90 days. There are scenarios where it can take longer, and there are scenarios where you can actually get paid faster. So these are the fundamentals in surplus funds that we can apply across the board. It just really comes down to you becoming an expert in the counties and states that you want to work. So hopefully this video has been helpful, guys. If it has been, go ahead and hit the like, hit the subscribe button. You guys already know I'm coming out with content so that you can dominate in this industry. And if you're interested in learning step by step exactly how to do this business, go ahead and click the link in the description and you'll see a code for Take Action, $100 off. I'm looking forward to helping you out.